It's like we've always known, been set in stone, unbreakable. It's like I've always dreamed, true harmony, unmistakable, unmistakable.
Hi guys, welcome back to the House of H.E.R. I'm Holly.
And I'm Molly, and today we're going to be speaking about stalking and harassment.
Well,
I've had that.
I think this is such an amazing topic, because I think it's something that follows on in, I would say, 99.999, if not 100% of all abuse. There is never a time where an abuser will, if you walk away from a relationship and they don't stalk or harass you in some
No.
way. So I think this is such an important
Well,
part.
I think there are times when that happens, they don't stalk and harass you if they leave you. So a lot of the time with narcissistic abuse, you might leave them at first, then they chase you. It might not necessarily feel like stalking and harassment. It might feel like they're trying to win you back. You go back, they tell you all the dreams, you go back, and then that was actually their game the whole time.
Yeah.
And then they will leave you in the most horrible way ever because how dare you leave them? And in that case, cases like that, you could have still been abused in that relationship. But just like my ex-boyfriend with the girlfriend before me, I know he left her. I don't know if there was stalking and harassment or not, but I think... Yeah, but it's so common, especially if you're the one who's walked away.
So common. And I think, like what you said, if that doesn't happen, then it's almost part of the plan for you to miss that contact. They know how much they've trauma bonded you. They know how weak you are. And they know as soon as they don't contact you, you're going to think, I've actually got that at the minute of a couple of girls that I'm speaking to that are on the actual opposite end of that, which is, he's not reaching out to me. How can he not care? And I'm like this. So actually, that's a very good point, Miles.
Thank you. And I do think as well, even though you might not necessarily, this is why this is so important, which we'll get into, but obviously now we have the internet and online stalking, which is a whole new level of abuse that women in our generations are first to experience.
We're going to be working towards something with that, aren't we? We won't say it yet, but it will tie in actually really lovely with this. I say lovely. Wrong word. Really lovely. No, it won't tie in, but it will tie in perfectly with this episode and what probably one of our first big missions is, which I think can change the trajectory. Is that, God, that's a big word. Trajectory of how
this
online
is progressing,
safety works.
And I think as well, even if you've left the relationship or they've left you and they're not harassing and stalking you, they actually probably are stalking you online. They're just, you don't know about it. I left a situation recently, like a few months ago now, and it wasn't like that at all. I'm not trying to compare that relationship to this at all, because it wasn't, but I felt like it was potentially going to lead that way, just on like a bit of a love bomby narcissistic way, but I'm not sure, and I would never make that claim. But in Ibiza, that person was viewing my stories and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, forgot to say that. So
yeah, see, I mean, I feel like there can sometimes be, like, I feel...
They can still be watching even if they're not necessarily...
Yeah, because I feel like, I think we said in like the last episode, I think there's again a fine line, isn't there, of like, listen, I've been guilty of looking at an ex's profile. I've been with a friend and said,
oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God, have you still got so-and-so? Let me have a little look. And we do it once. We would never message
Keeping
them.
tabs
I would never spend my days at home trying to look at their page. But,
watching what they do.
We've all looked and had a little nose. We've all done that. I think that's quite normal in
I think
our world.
More what I was getting to is, if they are, just because they're not contacting you doesn't mean that they're not checking your social media, which is what you can
Which
get
they can
away.
still do in
They
online.
now have access
Yeah.
to your social media,
Yeah.
whether you're in communication or you're hearing from them or not. You don't know if they are.
That's so true. Is because especially when you have like our accounts. I don't know
On
if yours actually
public.
is, but mine's a public
All
account.
mine are public. I've
All
got
yours-
4.
Yeah. So we're so accessible.
Yeah. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. But we
Yeah.
need to do the trigger warning as well.
So yes. Sorry.
It's okay.
As soon as I'm in control, the trigger warning goes out the window. So we're going to do a little trigger warning, and that is in today's episode, we speak about themes of trauma, mental health and abuse. If these topics feel too raw right now, it's okay to pause, step away or come back when you're ready.
Shall I get my little facts up?
We're going to get the little scientist and statistic queen.
We've got some data on stalking.
Here's what we got ready earlier.
Yeah, literally 1 minute ago. So, stalking and harassment are not romantic. So there's a lot of sometimes these things can be glamorized and they're actually not. And I think that's what's important about this episode, that we really clarify that.
Yeah.
So stalking and harassment are not romantic persistence. They're violence rooted in power and control. They are crimes under UK law, but often minimised or dismissed until escalation. Survivors describe feeling constantly watched, unsafe, and stripped of their everyday freedoms. Online harassment and cyber stalking are rising sharply, especially targeting women and girls. The police record hundreds of thousands of stalking and harassment offences every year, but prosecutions remain low. So this is me. Leaving an abusive partner is one of the highest risk times for stalking to begin or intensify. And I've got some little facts and statistics for you. Stalking and harassment are classed as part of violence against women and girls. Nearly 20% of all recorded crime in the UK, so 20% of violence against women and girls is stalking and harassment.
Wow.
In 2022 to 23, police in England and Wales reported over 700,000 stalking and harassment offences. Around 1 in 5 women will experience stalking in their lifetime. For men, it's around 1 in 10. Digital abuse is now a major channel. In some studies, over 90% of stalking victims reported online harassment alongside offline incidents. Women are most at risk after separation, which is what you just said. Stalking often continues or escalates when a survivor leaves an abusive partner. So we didn't even know that when we said it. Harassment in schools is widespread. 9 in 10 girls and young women report experiencing sexist name-calling or unsolicited sexual images.
Wow.
I think I do have a few more. Yeah, that pretty much covers it, doesn't it, though?
Wow.
But yeah, crimes, yeah. So it's 1 in 5. 1 in 5 women in this country will be a victim of stalking and harassment in their lifetime. How many subscribers have we got on YouTube, or how many listeners have we got?
I mean, there's probably the rates of domestic abuse have scared me. So the rates of stalking and harassment, I feel like would be so much higher.
They're even higher, and I do think, I would say, as much as, yes, we have come on leaps and bounds within our policing system with our response to abuse, I think there's we've just got
Oh my God, the stalking.
coercive control and all of that. We've got that through.
Well, I had stalking and harassment was one of his charges that got dropped imminently.
Same.
Because they said, because the other charges, which I do get in a way, I'm pleased they followed through with the other ones. But when I went, the stalking and harassment part of it was one of the biggest, was the reason I went to the police, was because he was stalking and harassing me to such a drastic level that I shut my business down. Not shut but stopped showing up for my business, the social media side of it, for months, and couldn't show my face because he was watching me. He had made it known.
You can't escape.
And that was the reason I went there. And because the rest of it got taken to Crown Court, they said that was a magistrate's court thing, and they just dropped it.
Well, I had over 25 charges.
I mean, yours
of stalking and
your
harassment.
whole
case
was based on. So I mean, this episode is like, so we've both got parts, but your whole case was around
stalking and harassment.
And
obviously when this was all happening to me and we went to the police and everything, you're never far away from an abuse survivor, that's for sure. And I spoke to loads of different women who had been in abusive relationships and hadn't had justice, and I wouldn't have been expecting it, but because a lot of the stalking and harassment I received was online, me and my parents really thought that, like, I had it proof beyond reasonable doubt that
yeah.
stalking and harassment, but it didn't get.
And that is it's the sad reality that I think it's not deemed serious enough,
No.
which is where there needs to be a huge change.
1 in 5 women are going to be stalked and harassed, and that's the thing with the online and everything. Because that was the thing for me, and again, I know we've said before, but I felt suicidal because I could not escape him. I couldn't go to my room and be away because
it's not like if you leave a room or you leave
I couldn't
somewhere when
hide
it's
at home.
online.
I didn't leave the house for 6 weeks because I was so scared to go outside because he was threatening to show up and things, but he was still in my house. Like the first night when it all really got very, very bad and the hacking started, the first night I had to try and we had a meeting at Loughton police station literally the next morning. That first night that I tried to sleep, I didn't sleep a wink because I was having such bad night terrors. Anytime I closed my eyes, he was in my room. I was so petrified that he was in my room. So even though physically he wasn't in my room, it impacted me the same way that if he had have been, because I was living in that fear. And I think that's something that's really not taken seriously enough or understood about stalking and harassment, because yes, they're not physically there, but they may as well be, because you can't get away from them.
You can't control. Unfortunately, you cannot control the online space, and I think this is something like that we have said is, I think if there was more online procedures and things in place, it would protect so much. But for some reason, it is just, I don't know whether it's because it's so, I don't know why I would love to know why it's not, because actually it's one of the things that makes you feel the most unsafe and like you can't escape. Like I know when I walked away, that was the thing that pushed me, the constant emails, the relentless phone calls, the having 6-7 fake accounts and letting me know. You can't stop that.
I'm really interested to know where the correlation is between stalking and harassment and women who take their own lives, because it's like that's the thing that I feel drives you over the edge, because
you feel like you're going mad.
You cannot get away. You can't retreat your room. For me, it was like I couldn't even work because he'd hacked my entire business. And like I was dealing a lot with the Essex Police cybercrime team, as we know, and they told me for like 9 months, I think they told me that it was 100% going to court. They were going to throw the book at him. These are all things they said to me. Like, did I want a restraining order? All of this stuff. Like, there was never a question about it. Like, they said the evidence was airtight. They've never been given evidence like it before, and he would have to plead guilty. And didn't work out that way. I don't think I've told this on the podcast actually. So I randomly got so basically in September, we know what happened to me, don't we? My ex-boyfriend, I tried to leave my relationship and my ex-boyfriend started stalking and harassing me. And then when he realised that I really wasn't going to go back, and the minute I stopped, I decided I can't answer you anymore because it's making me unwell. And I'd blocked him and he knew he wasn't going to get hold of me. Then he hacked my entire business and everything I built for however many years. And we went to the police station the next morning. But even on that, like when I was at home for 6 days until the day he was arrested. So he'd already been stalking and harassing me for weeks before this. He turned up to my house. He convinced my mum to let him in. He went through my bedroom and all my bags. He called me to let me know he would message friends, family, everyone. And then, when he was threatened to come round, kept telling me he wasn't going to kill me, which just made me think he was. And then when I blocked him on everything, I couldn't take it anymore because I've already felt suicidal at this point. I just felt like he was never going to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And I had to block him, completely losing my mind. When I did that, he hacked everything. But so if that was 6 days, so let's just say it wasn't, but say he did it on the Monday. We went to the police station the following morning, but from the minute he started hacking me until the minute he was arrested, there was not 1 hour where I didn't have an email or something else he was taking. It wasn't like he was just contacting me or calling my friends, or calling me off all these random numbers, but he was taking things that weren't even mine. He would be taking down client websites. He would be deleting client work. I had my clients crying, like everything I built for 7 years, he was taking it all. I couldn't ignore it because it was other people's...
It was what you had to deal with it.
Yeah, and it was other people's stuff. So I had no choice in the situation. But literally there wasn't 1 hour for those 6 days. It was the longest 6 days of my life. And on the last day, that was when he got into my iCloud on the last day. And that was like...
It is as well. It's such an invasion of
You
privacy.
feel so violated.
Like, what are they watching? Are they watching? Has he got... If someone is that tapped to be able to get into that,
I'd be thinking,
sleeping. I'd be thinking if they got cameras set up, like watching me.
I thought we had a tracker in my car. I still don't know if there is one, but that's how I felt. I felt like he was there all the time watching me, and he didn't sleep. It wasn't just like a 1 hour burst of rage. He would be up till 4 o'clock in the morning. He was making accounts, calling himself Asswipe Little. Like, he would create accounts on different softwares using my second name, like pretending he was
related to
his name with my surname. Like, the things he was doing in there were so weird and creepy. I went back through my YouTube history because he'd wiped my history on Google Chrome, but he hadn't took my YouTube off, and he'd been watching videos on how to install spyware into my phone, how to hack. He was watching the weirdest videos, and I've got them on my phone, but I can't remember everything that he was doing. It's hard to remember.
Yeah, it is. I feel like you get like a block.
I've really disconnected from it so much since it happened, but and when he got to my iCloud, that's what I was going to say.
Oh God, iCloud's like everything.
That was everything. It's all my pictures, all my memory. Like, it's my brain. It is me.
And
like,
you have pictures and videos. Like,
everything.
This isn't, if you're going to hack someone, like, Molly's just not your average Joe that you hack and they've got a couple of pictures on. Like, Molly, if you're a friend of hers, will know she's the best person to go out because you know every part of your night and everything is going to be vlogged.
I'm a vlogger.
She's a vlogger. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's
so
devastating.
So intimate. And then when he got into my iCloud, that was like, I just felt like it was never going to end. And that was the most suicidal
like,
I felt.
All of your, like, I'm not being funny as well, right? Like,
all my pictures, all my notes. I have journals.
All of the pictures, like, even though you was with him in a relationship, there's pictures on my phone that I wouldn't want people to see. Like, that's just a complete violation.
We actually had a police officer around our house during this time that was just a family friend.
And where are they going? Where are the messages go? Like, who's got them? Who's being sent? Like, it's awful.
We had a police officer in my house during this time, just a family friend. And he was like to me, has he got any indecent images of you? Because that would help.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. If he'd have had indecent images of me,
then it
would have been sped up so much. But yeah, literally, he was up till 4 a.m. taking different things in mind. I'm talking my Ticketmaster, like,
he done everything, your whole Canva, didn't
everything, like years and years and years and years of work gone. And when I went to the police, I told them all of that, and they did take it really seriously initially, like in my first interview and stuff.
Yeah, because I remember you was like a little bit in front of me of like the police thing, and I remember at the beginning they was like so good.
But I honestly thought that he was going to kill me, like, and everything else I thought he was going to do, he did. Like, the day before he hacked me, he called my mum up and I wasn't answering. It just so happened I was at my mum's house that day, and I said to my mum, I don't want to speak to him anymore. My mum was trying to keep the peace and
Yeah.
liaise between us, and he was creating issues and all of this to keep in contact. And I decided I don't want to speak to him. I have nothing more to say to him. It's been however many weeks. We don't need to be in contact. I
Yeah.
don't want to talk to him anymore. Like, it's making me really unwell. I can't leave the house.
Yeah.
He was harassing me so badly. I'd be crying and begging him to stop, and he would make him call me more. Like, he was terrifying me. And I just decided enough's enough. I don't want to speak to him anymore. And I happened to be at my mum's house, and he called her. And she was also trying to appease him. She said to him, because I was getting so ill, she said, look, if you just leave her alone for a week, my mental health was in tatters before I even started the hacking. If you just leave her alone for this weekend, please just leave her alone for a few days, let her, and then you can
Calm
come
down,
round.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know why she said it. You can come round on the Monday and I'll sit you and her down and we can talk about, he was creating all these issues just to get,
Yeah.
and so he obviously called up on the Monday, and I was at my mum's, and I was like, I never ever want to see. I didn't even say want. I said, I am never going to see or speak to him again. Like, I want nothing to do with him. I don't need to. I've left this relationship. Like, I don't owe this person.
Just leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't owe. There's no reason for us to communicate. I have said, obviously we had a business together, but I gave him that. Like, I have said where I stand on everything. I've said what I'm willing to do, all of that. I've given that away. I'm clear on that, what I'm happy with. Done. End of
Yeah.
conversation. And so she texted him and said, sorry, you can't come round. And then he called her and she answered. And I was adamant that I wasn't going to answer the phone. And she was like, oh, God knows. He was so convincing. And she'd be like pausing it and asking me. He would just come up with a reason. There was always all these reasons. He'd text me from his mum's phone. And it made me look like I was being unreasonable because he'd be coming with all these different valid reasons that only he and I knew were BS. So when he's calling up my family and going all around the houses to everyone around me. Oh, well, I just need to know this. She's not giving, it looks like
you
it was just one thing.
Yeah.
I do that. If you just see me one time, if you just meet me in the car one time, I'll stop. Okay, I'll meet you in the car one time. Does it stop? No. I gave him, you can't negotiate with a terrorist at the end of the day. I gave him every single thing he wanted to try and get him to stop. I realised it wasn't going to stop. So I said, no more. Like, I wouldn't do this to my worst enemy. He needs to leave me alone.
Yeah.
# boundaries. And yeah, mum was on the phone and she would be relaying it to me. And it was, in the end, I just said, give me the phone. And he was asking to come round and stuff. And I said, no. And he was just losing it. But he was saying, as I kept telling everyone else it was about the business. He was saying to me on the phone, I don't care about the business. Please, can I just come and see you? Like, just wanted to see. It was never about the business. And that was what was annoying, because he was telling everyone
so
that
he
it
was making it out like you just wasn't being reasonable with the business.
I fucking freaking gave you it, hon. Like, even though I'd done all the work and paid for everything, I gave you the business just to get you to leave me alone. Gave you that on day one that I left, because I knew you wouldn't let me go without it.
Yeah.
I knew he'd use it as a reason to get to control me. And even on that phone call, it was never about the business. Anytime he spoke to me, it was always about him wanting to see me, him wanting to speak to me. I didn't want to see or speak to him. When I said that on the phone, and I said, I will never see you. Like, it was like, what, you hate me that much? I think he said that to me maybe in the car. I was like, I don't hate you. I don't want to speak. I don't want anything to do with you. The way you've treated me, and I want nothing to do with you, and I want you to leave me alone. And yeah, once I said that, again, it was like a different person. Like, I'd never heard him swear before. When I was with him, he seemed like he was abusive, but not loud and aggressive.
In a
subtle, soft abuse, which I still don't think I've uncovered a fraction of. You do it in such a gentle
also
way.
Like it's very manipulative. That's it's almost it's so manipulative that it changes your perception of your own thoughts.
Yeah. Because also when someone says to you abuse,
well, it's very aware when someone sits there and calls you a slag or a this or a that. Do you know what I mean? It's obvious that it's abuse, but actually abuse in different forms, where it's silent, where it's just
you don't even
manipulation
know
and
it was-
gaslighting, and
That's exactly what it was. And yeah, on the phone, he just switched, and this is what he'd done since I left him. That's why I could, like, when I remember sitting in the car with him that one time, he did ask to see me, and I looked at him and I didn't know his face looked deformed. I was looking at him and talking to him, and it was like the rose tinted glass had come off, and I did not know this person that was. I was
I
literally.
remember you
felt
saying
scared.
that when you were sharing your story. It's
Yeah.
like you just couldn't
I
even.
didn't know who he was at all, but yeah, he went on the turn on the call. He called me an effing C next Tuesday and said he hated me. And I knew. I hung up the phone straight away, and I turned to my mum and I said, he's going to kill me. And she said, no, he's not. That's it now. Like, he's said his piece. He's not going to kill you. I said, I'm telling you now, tomorrow he's going to do something really bad to me. Like, I'm telling you. No, he's not. It's fine. Went to my dad and my stepmom's, and all this time I've been saying he's going to do this. They're going, yeah, he is. They were almost the ones telling me,
Yeah.
he's a narcissist, he's whatever. And I went round there that evening and I said, he's going to kill me. He's going to do something to me tomorrow. I know he is. And even they were like, no, he won't. He won't. He's done now. He's had his burst. He's had his outrage. He's been horrible. Like, but I knew. I
Something
could
was
just
gonna
tell in his
happen.
voice, I knew he was going to do something to me. And that next day was when he started hacking me. But the whole time, from the first day I broke up with him, when we were on the phone, he kept repeatedly telling me, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to kill you.
Who says that?
From that moment onwards, I knew. It wasn't like I was scared. I categorically knew he was going to kill me. Like, everything he did, I felt like I knew he was going to do before he did, and he did. And I really, really felt and believed that he was going to kill me for ages afterwards. Even till now, the only reason I don't think he's going to kill me now is because I'm not going to let him. Like, I'm just not going to put myself in a situation where he ever has the opportunity to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then even that day, after he got off that call and called me that in front of my mum, this is how freaking crazy these people are. He sent my mum a paragraph about how much of an awful person. I'm trying to find it. He basically he'd been harassing me and all of this, being horrific. The way he behaved was totally unacceptable. Told me how much he hated me, called me an effing see you next Tuesday, all of the rest of it. I hung up the phone. My mum, he knows my mum can hear him. Then sends my mum a paragraph. Hi, Kerry, I'm sorry. I know she's your daughter, but someone needs to teach her a lesson. Like, all of this big, long paragraph. It was insane. As if my mum's going to go, yeah, about how much of an awful person I was, basically.
Oh, actually,
Yeah, you're right about her, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't. But I also wanted to, I've logged the whole freaking thing.
she's got the whole
Thank
lot.
God, because I can't really remember it otherwise. But on my YouTube, so much stuff. Yeah, so on my YouTube, he was watching videos. Having trouble adding your Instagram account, let's fix it. How to log into Facebook using Instagram. 60-minute 4K relaxing screensaver, blue glitter particles, random. And then how to log into Facebook using Instagram. How to log into Instagram without recovery code. How to log into Facebook using Instagram full guide. How to recover TikTok account without email or phone number. How to get someone else's messages on iPhone. How to receive someone else's text on your phone. How to read text messages on another phone remotely. How to install Spy on the target phone. So how to install Spy on someone's phone. Hacking two-factor authentication. 4 methods for bypassing 2FA and MFA. How to send a message in Canva. So he ended up sending me messages through my Canva account that he'd hacked via email, threatening me, saying, I have copies of all of your work. If you do what I say, I'll give them back.
It's psychotic.
How to export and import Google calendars. So he took all my Google Calendar.
Not your Google Calendar.
Not my bloody Google Calendar. Yeah. Literally, I've got everything he did. But that was the thing more, how to There's hundreds of him watching all these huge. This man was literally sat there for 6 days till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. The emails I was getting, the text messages, my other phone couldn't use it because it was a
Bing, bing,
two-factor.
bing.
It was just relentless for days. How to delete old face. Honestly, there's so many. So many.
That is wild. I think it's actually, it's so dangerous because, like you said, even if they don't do anything to you, the way that this pushes you to not being able to cope, to suicidal thoughts, to, there's just so many ways in which stalking and harassment can affect your life. And I genuinely do not feel like it is taken anywhere near as serious. And I think something needs to happen with online, when it comes to like social media.
Because you just can't get away from it. Like, my whole camera roll was just no caller IDs, no caller ID.
Oh, yeah.
There was all these random fake numbers. I was just constantly getting these things. But obviously I got the IP addresses up and everything in the end, but it was constant. And what he was also doing, because we had a business together, he was messaging girls on there impersonating me. And it's like my reputation I've built, my reputation was already shattered because he'd taken down a client where he just destroyed my whole life. Like, he really did. And
he did kill you, basically, just not physically.
He killed that version of me, yeah. And I'm glad he did, because now I've got this version of me.
Yeah.
And I was saying this earlier, or I was saying this a couple of days ago. Like, I don't know why, I think I was talking about vision boarding or something. What I wanted in January of last year,
so different.
if she could see me now, her goals was here.
Yeah.
What I've gone and done is up here. Like, as much as that was awful, and it is hard to relive it, I feel totally disassociated. I don't even know what I've just said.
Yeah.
I feel totally.
Get you. I'm exactly the same when I talk.
I actually can't really talk about it anymore at all, because I don't have any connection, or that's why I have to get it off my phone, because I don't remember it. I don't feel anything when I'm saying it at all. I don't feel like it happened, but well, I do feel like it happened, but
yeah, it's very hard. It's really hard unless you've been through something like that. I feel like
it was just constant every minute of the day. There was not 1 hour where it was for 6 days solid, and it was weeks of harassment before that, but for 6 days solid, I was in hell, and it was getting so bad. I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel either, and that last day got my iCloud. Yeah, I said to my parents, and he was trying to get me to contact him the whole time. I hadn't answered.
Yeah, because he's using it as a weapon against you, isn't he?
And on that 6th day that I said to my parents, I was like, I'm going to do something. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Give him whatever he wants. I would have. I needed it to stop. I wasn't sleeping. Yeah. I needed it to stop.
And also, you're going to bed with that fear of like, what am I going to wake up to?
And I said to my parents, like, I would have given him anything he asked for at that point. Because, and that's what I think with the online harassment and everything, it is bullying. And if we learnt nothing from bullying, that it does take lives.
I just don't understand, like, and I know this is such a thing that I want to advocate for, and I was actually looking the other day because I know we've spoke about it, but like in the online, I guess there is so many steps now, I suppose, 2-step authentication, all of that is there for a reason, but clearly it's not safe enough because people can still get in and hack.
Also, like, the reason my dad was like, this is definitely going to court, because you hacked Apple, like,
yeah,
you can't do that to them.
Yeah. It's against them, but it's also, there is so much now with like, even on TikTok, for example, like if Georgie wants to have a TikTok account, drives me bloody mad for these TikTok accounts. You have to show ID now, which is great. It's bloody annoying at the time when I'm trying to get her a TikTok and it keeps getting shut down. But it's great because the reality is children under a certain age should not be on there.
No.
They just shouldn't, to protect them for whatever reason. How Instagram does not have, you go to your bank, you go to upload anywhere, you have to upload even my dad's football, for example, his season ticket thing, that he's doing for Jensen. He has to have Jensen's passport and Jensen in the room at the same time, because you have to stand with your passport next to your face. You can't now just upload a picture of anyone's passport. You have to have it next to you.
It's like online banking. But he hacked my online banking as well, by the way, and I got a tax fine because he got into all of my, and I'm now I'm paying £1,500 now. I've just had to pay another accountant to undo I've got to dissolve my company and everything because of how much he messed up
all your accounts.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
mental. And I feel like this, but I feel like with this, like how Instagram, which is a huge platform that we all use, which is probably one of, I mean, TikTok's probably up there now, but Instagram is huge. How is that not protected so much more? It would eradicate. So when I was looking into it, it was saying that basically they can't, because the thing that I think should be in place is that you should have to show ID. When you sign up to an Instagram account, anyone who makes an Instagram account should have to show their ID. And when I was looking into it, it was basically saying that someone had tried to do this before, but because of online, you know, if someone did want to be online and they didn't want to show, maybe someone wanted to have an account to look on things, that it would take away their privacy. But my argument is you don't have to, you can have your username as whatever you want.
Yeah, but it's just that the platforms
it's
know
just
who
the
you
platform
are.
knows
So
who you are. So if I blocked, or you blocked, say you blocked A, yeah, and I blocked S, if we blocked them and they wanted to make another account, they can still go on and make another account. But because we have blocked their name, their original name or whatever, any accounts that is associated with that, so they could go on and make another account and use it for whatever they want. But the minute they try and look at an account that has blocked them, they can't.
But I do think that is a rule on Instagram. So if I made a new account,
yeah, but it's only registered to your email. It's not your ID.
I didn't know that.
So,
I think it's your IP address.
No, I don't think so. It's your email address.
Because if I logged in on your account to someone who's blocked me on my phone, I don't think I'd be able to see it. But if I did it on my laptop, I would. So yeah, you can you get another phone, make another account, and then you're fine.
Whereas with an ID, accounts, they cannot physically open another single account, which is what I think we need to.
Also, then it's traceable. If someone's sending you death threats and trolling you, you know where it's coming from
because it's connected to their ID.
Someone made a fake account of a couple of days ago and called me a whore.
Oh, relentless.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. But it would eradicate, you know, we're talking about
trolling,
it from
online abuse, stalking,
you know, an abusive,
abuse.
You know, way. But in terms of like our children growing up, in terms of
trolling,
you know, anyone, you should not be allowed on social media without us knowing who you are. I'm not being funny. It's not
like the rest of the world knows. It's just
why should people, if people to go on Pornhub these days, you have to show identification. You have to prove who you are. Why is that not on social media to protect we would feel so much safer, like for survivors. You know, the biggest thing for me when this happened was showing up on social media. Why should I have to change my work account when so much has been taken away to stop him looking?
Same, I had a podcast.
That's what I mean. Why should we have to do that? Just because, why is there not more rules in place to stop the perpetrator
You should be able to get away from someone, and you should be able to go home and be at home and get away from someone, and you can't. And even with that Instagram thing, even if that had been a thing, I still wouldn't have been able to get away from him because of all the other things he was doing. There needs to be, I think it needs to be taken more seriously, like, because it does take people's lives. It affects 1 in 5 women.
Well, I think there needs to be, you know, even if they're not going to criminally, I think it should be given anything that is reported as stalking or harassment that has got, you know, substantial amount of proof. Because like with everything, you know, we have to be able to prove things. There should be a restraining order at a minimum given.
So what happened with me was 9 months, restraining order, 25 charges, going to have to plead guilty, Computer Misuse Act, blah, 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 blah. Best evidence we've ever had, airtight, traces IP address. I had every freaking click. They also have to verify that with the platforms that I haven't I haven't photoshopped
yeah.
it or whatever. They did. All the platforms came back. Even Canva, who's an Australian brand, came back. Every company came back and verified what I said. So it was all done. And then I actually got a call from the police thinking I was someone else. There's another Mollie Little
Oh
on
my
their
God,
system.
yeah, that was so weird,
That
wasn't
was
it?
so bad as well. And a female, the day was so bad, but I got a letter from the police saying they were trying to contact me. So I emailed my detective straight away because I've always had access to him whenever he can get in touch with me like that, and same vice
Yeah.
versa. And we spoke loads because I helped him build his case. And,
Detective Little.
yeah. And I got a letter saying they were trying to get hold of me. So I tried to call, couldn't get through. Emailed him like, is this you? Confused. He was like, oh, sorry, there's another Mollie Little. I'll let that detective know. By the way, the other Mollie Little is a victim in case you thought. But I'll let them know that's not you. And he was like, I was going to call you tomorrow anyway because we need something or other. Basically, A's, your ex-boyfriend's, what was it? He was on bail. Bail is due to run out in the next few days. So we need to come up with a disposal, which is just whatever they do at the end of bail, whether that's trial, blah, blah. Instantly, I was like, I felt sick for a minute. I had about 30 minutes where I was upset and then I got over it. But straight away, I knew, because it's like, what do you mean we need to decide disposal? You've told me for 9 months that it's
this
going
is
to
gonna be,
trial and we've got 25 charges. Like,
what's changed?
Yeah, what do you mean? You have the evidence. You've told me that you called me up a few weeks ago and said, the thing was as well, the police, they told me they thought he was a threat to me, how insane he was being in his interviews. When
So they've almost scared you more,
they
made you
did.
feel worse.
They
and
said
then just...
they interviewed him 4 or 5 times, I think, and they said in every interview he displayed absolutely no remorse. He thought that he was entitled to me, and that's what's so scary. That was why I was so scared for my life, because
Yeah. He didn't see what he was
there
doing
was
as
never
wrong.
any understanding of, you don't just get to, I'm not yours. And even when he'd been arrested and was having his interviews, he was still asking the police if he could speak to me.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't let off. And he knew I didn't want to speak to him and I wanted him to leave me alone. And he didn't care. And even you've been arrested at 2 o'clock in the morning, blue lights, handcuffed, out of your bedroom. You've seen your poor mum and your brother really upset. If he'd at any point turned around and gone, all I wanted was him to take accountability, so I knew he would leave me alone.
Yeah.
At any point,
And you also, it's almost a thing of like, when they do that, it's like, okay, maybe you think in your head, maybe they do recognise their actions, but when they genuinely don't recognise their actions, it just goes to show how insane they
how far are you
genuinely
gonna
believe.
take it?
Yeah, that
And
they're okay.
that was what it was. And I even said to a relative of mine that was a friend of his very early on, if he just turned around and admitted what he'd done, took accountability and said, sorry, I would have dropped it all tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to drag it on either, but I needed him to
know that
he wasn't going to do that
yeah.
to someone else and wasn't going to keep doing it to me. The only reason he stopped was because he was arrested and had to not contact me by law, or he would have been arrested again.
Yeah.
That was the only thing stopping him.
Yeah.
Um,
And the thing is as well, like, what people don't understand, because I had this as well, didn't I? With like, I remember his sister was like all of his, and like, well, you messaged back, you didn't say that he was harassing you. You didn't say, and that was the reason that I ended up going in, because had he not have been arrested, yes, the same with you, it would never, would it have ever stopped? It may have stopped, so it would go 2 weeks and I wouldn't hear, and then they'd reach out and I'd get so panicked that the phone calls would start, this would start. So I'd go back with a little message. He'd message saying, well done on this. And I'd say, thank you.
Yeah.
And you give an inch and they take a mile. But I'd be so scared. And then they was like, well, you didn't say that he was harassing you. You was going, and it's like,
because I was
trying
scared
to survive, and I was trying to survive. And even if I did say that, what's it going to stop? All right, you might tell him and he might stop for a week. He might stop for 2 weeks. But actually, until you go to the police, they're not accountable on their own.
And the thing is as well, with the thing for me, which I think what the police were sort of thinking was, oh, well, it's been 9 months and he hasn't done anything else. And it's like, yeah, it's been 9 months and he hasn't done it. And he had done other things as well. He hasn't done anything else, but he's not been able to because you arrested him. Like,
But also,
he's not been allowed to, but you would have gone and arrested him again if he did that.
But also, I think the point that is missed here is it's almost like, oh, well, he hasn't stalked anyone again. He hasn't harassed you again. He hasn't hit someone. He hasn't hit you again. So what? That
hasn't
doesn't
had the
take
chance
away
to.
the
No,
fact
what he
that
did.
what he has done and the impact.
And what he did
it's
was
not about
wrong.
what he's done going forward. It's
No,
about what he's already done.
He shouldn't be allowed to do that to me. I
Yeah.
should live in, and this is what I've said to my detective a lot. I want to live in a world where I can live my life
Yeah.
without feeling like I want to take my own life, because I don't want to live in a world where people are allowed to harass me and take everything I've built and cost me thousands.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why someone could come along, you could build a business for 7 years and someone could come along and destroy all of it. I
Yeah.
don't think that's right. And that's what I'm saying to detective, I don't live in that world. But yeah, he basically said the disposal of the bow. And first I was really upset, and all my family were like, it's not, they've been saying it's going to be caught the whole time, you've but I've known, my gut tells me, and I've known. And I got upset for the first half an hour, and then I'd called my mum and I said, actually, I'm not upset. I've done everything I can to honour myself in this situation. I know, it's what you said earlier. I know what he did was wrong, and I'm not okay with it. And and I'm proud of myself for the way I've handled it and what I've done to honour myself afterwards. I don't need a police officer or a court to tell me that wasn't okay.
Or to go down a prison.
Like they need to do. I think if they had the resources and facilities, yes, I think they knew it was a crime. I just think that they're understaffed, they're strained. Maybe there is, that was the only consolation prize, which I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but I did sort of feel like, well, there might be someone who's being really abused that might get that time instead, and who doesn't have the support I do. That was the only sort of thing I could say to myself to comfort myself. But I sort of made peace with it and thought, whatever they say,
you've done the right thing by you, and that's all you
can
at the end
do.
of the day. You can't control the
How
things
they
that you
deal
can't
with it.
control. All you can control is that you've done the right thing by you. You have, and and this is the same for anybody listening, sometimes it's not always about the result. Yes, the victory is lovely. Yes, the justice makes you feel heard and seen. But sometimes just standing up and setting that boundary of, what, I'm
honouring
not just going to
yourself.
sit back and take this.
No,
I
and
think
we
is
did.
a big step.
Yeah, thank you. And we did. So then the detective called me up the next day and was like, yeah, so he's being released off of bail under further investigation. I have to send this report off to my superior, but it's all done. But he told me in October he'll be ready to go to CPS by December. This was like 6 months after December that he called me up saying this. And the detective, he was great, but every time I spoke to him, it was almost as if he'd forgotten what he was talking about.
Yeah, I remember you saying
every
this.
time he'd answer the phone to me thinking it was, he forgot who I was. He'd forget everything. Then by the time we'd be on the phone for 2 hours, and by the time we're off the phone, he'd remembered again and he was going to do all this stuff. And I just think he obviously had so much that he was dealing with. I think he forgot half the things he'd said to me, which is so crazy but yeah, called me up and said all that. And I did cry on the phone, and I said, you've told me there's 25 charges, it's airtight. He was like, no, I didn't. Not 25 charges, but la la la.
Yeah,
and
he
then
just couldn't remember. I think
later on in the same call, he went, yep, so there's 25 like he just didn't know what was going on, because I think he left it too long. I think he had the intention of doing it in December. He obviously got distracted by something else and he dropped the ball, and then it went on too far, and it wasn't as stressful as a case as maybe some of the other things on his desk. And so he just, so that was that. And then he said, I was like, but you offered me a restraining order like a couple of weeks ago, like I'm terrified for my life. And he was like,
how they haven't given this
well, he said, no, of course I would never let that happen. I'm not gonna. He went, we've filed for an emergency non-molestation order that'll be coming through to you in the next few hours or tomorrow, and then we'll let you know the outcome. There will be an outcome. We'll let you know in 2 weeks. I said, okay. Get the call the next day for emergency non-molestation order, people. oh, sorry, his bail ends in 3 days. You were supposed to let us know 3 months before his bail ended, so we can't help you. I said, okay. I was so deflated.
At that point, yeah, you just
Because I just thought, you've literally failed me so badly.
But this is, unfortunately,
The other side of it.
this is the other side of it. So it's all well and good, you know, while my story, but unfortunately, what you are
Doesn't always
dealing
go that
with
way, yeah.
is what 95% of the women that are watching this, women that are out there, future women, are going to have to deal with. And it is just so shit. But this is the reason we want to make the change.
Yeah. And then basically 2 weeks later, called me up and said, it was just like, how can you tell me for 9 months? Like, called me up and said, so we're going to give him a, what's the word? Not a warning,
No, I don't know.
something like a notice or something.
So it goes on his file, doesn't
basically, so they gave him, something. Let me just quickly get the email up of what it was. They gave him something like a warning, and let me find it. So
it does go on their DBS
files,
thing, doesn't
yeah.
it?
But by that point, I didn't believe anything the detective said to me anymore. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, they gave him a. I'd like to update you. They gave him. So on Friday, 16th of May was issued under. So on Friday, 16th of today, Friday, 16th of May, so-and-so was issued under Section 1 of the Commuter Misuse Act for the offence committed against you. The offence is worded in la la la. I'll get a caution. They gave him a caution. And so he called me up right before, a couple of days before, and said, we're bringing him in this week to caution him. Which I was actually happy with that outcome at the time, because I wasn't going to have to go to court. He was going to have to admit what he'd done and sign it,
Yeah.
which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to have to go to court. He was going to have to own what he did, and it would be on his record. The detective was trying to say, like, you know, he won't be able to fly to certain places. I think that was all a load of gravy, but he told me what they were going to caution him for, and I said, which was logging in. And I was like, okay, but he didn't just log into my accounts, did he? He permanently deleted all of my work and stalked and harassed me and blackmailed me and threatened me and all of this. And he was like, yes, yes, yes. I said, so will that be in the caution? He was like, I can't really remember what he said. Anyway, they end up cautioning him. I reminded him, this is what happened. He didn't just log into my accounts. Detective calls me up a few days later. Hi, so we cautioned him. He just sent me an email as well. I didn't even know what it meant. I called him. I was like, what does this mean? He was like, oh, sorry, I was going to let you read through it and then call you. I thought, BS. How could you be that into my case? Like, we're going to throw the book. I had the Essex Police Cybercrime team cheering on the phone in the background at the start. Then he doesn't even want to call me to let me know what's happening. On the phone. And he said, all of this, he's been cautioned for logging in to your accounts. And I said, but he didn't just log into my accounts, did he? And he said, no, he didn't. I said, so why haven't you? He went, well, we need to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. And I said, I have proven that beyond reasonable doubt. Here's all of the clicks he did from his IP.
I don't even think they'd looked back over the evidence.
Honestly. And he was like, he said, no, we have to prove beyond a reason. We know he did delete all your work, but we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he meant to. So basically, they could prove that, they could confirm that he meant to log into my accounts without my consent, but he might have accidentally spent 6 days deleting all of my work. And I said, okay, what about all the emails and messages and texts of him saying to me, I have copies of all of your work. If you do what I say, I'll delete it. Like, we have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond his own admission, that he meant to permanently delete all of your work.
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah. So that was a bit annoying, but I just thought...
But you've got to listen, for all the women out there that are watching it, you've done the right thing. You stood up for, you know, yourself. You didn't let him completely get away with it. It is on his...
And I rebuilt. Like, that's... Sorry, was you saying more?
No, go on.
Like, that was that was just over a year ago now. And a year exact. So that was obviously the worst week of my life, or 6 weeks, months, whatever. But the week that he hacked me, them 6 days, were the worst 6 days of my life. I don't know, because it was really bad after as well. But yeah, anyway, some of them. And I didn't realise, but exactly 1 year later, last week, the exact same 6 days,
You was living your
I
best
was in
life.
Ibiza. It was the first 6 days I've ever had off of work. And I had the best holiday of my life, exactly to the day,
Yeah, it's
a year
mental.
later. And if she could, like, I could never have fathomed what was going to follow. When I was back in September and that was happening to me and I was in that place, I have travelled, like the things I wanted for my life then versus what I've got now.
Yeah.
I've travelled, like I have met I've accomplished things I could never have dreamed of accomplishing
Yeah.
since then. And yeah, as much as
You
it
have
was,
to hit rock bottom. And I know
yeah.
we say it so many times, but you really do have to hit rock bottom to rebuild.
And I think his justice is being who he is.
And they have to sleep at
He's
night.
going to ruin every life he touches just to be capable of doing something like that. And also, like, how embarrassing, like, you tried to ruin my life and you just made it better.
Yeah.
Like, look at me now, you know?
Look at me now.
So, and that's
No,
really
it's
similar to what we were saying before.
it's so true, and I think you've done so well. You've done amazing, and you
Yeah.
have completely rebuilt from the ashes. And you know, when they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, it's so true. But I do think, you know, of part of the work that we want to do with this whole like stalking and harassment
It's not okay.
situation, I think there definitely needs to be more, because it's not it's the effects it has and what it does. And like you said, you know, okay, yeah, he stopped, yeah, this one stops, but it's the emotional part of it, of just because they stop, we don't automatically stop. Oh, okay, they've stopped.
He
Oh, I'm
didn't
never
need-
going to worry about
He
it again.
didn't
I'm
need
never
to
going to
continue, because every single day of my life, from that moment onwards, until till like last few months, every day of my life,
Yeah.
I truly believed, I didn't think I'd see 25. I didn't think I'd see Christmas. The first 6 months of this year, so I'd say for about 9 months, maybe longer, I truly every single day believed I was going to die. I lived in constant fear of my life. I couldn't, one time, I don't know if I've told this story before, but I was driving back from therapy and I just convinced myself that he'd put a bomb in my car. And I was driving home waiting for it to blow up. And like my mum would find me asleep on the sofa with scissors in my hands. Like, he didn't need to
The thing
contact
is as
me.
well, it completely alters your reality. So
He was
it
there
seems
anyway.
so extreme, doesn't it? But when you are in it, you believe that what you think.
But all he had to do, and this is what no one understood at the time, he knew how terrified I was because the police told him as well. All he had to do to give me my peace was say, I'm not going to contact her anymore. I will leave her alone. And he has never, ever, he knew how terrified I was. And the police told him that, because my detective told me. All he had to do to put me out of my misery was to say, I will leave her alone, I'll stop.
Yeah.
Every interview he had was still asking them to speak to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I had never had that peace that he's going to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And if he had given me that in September, in October, November, December, January, any time he'd
Yeah.
I said to the detective, has he ever said to you that he's going to leave me alone and stop? No. So all he had to do was say, yeah, I'll leave her now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have had to live with that. But he didn't want me to
But
feel...
would you have believed him?
I think I would have, yeah. I think I don't know if I would have believed him, but I think
It
if
would have
he'd
just given
taken
you some
accountability
yeah.
and said he was sorry and owned what he'd done, because he's in such denial,
Yeah.
that was what I needed from the situation. I guess, and I don't think I did get that really, because, yeah, I just wanted him to know what he'd done was wrong and he wasn't going to do it anymore to
again.
me.
Yeah. But he was never going to give you that satisfaction, because they don't.
And that's the thing, he didn't need, and that's an interesting part of stalking I would like to tap into more at some point, because yes, he had stopped contacting me, but the after effects and the way he'd made me feel, which I think was intentional, I couldn't not look over my shoulder. Like Angela would literally have to watch me walk from the front door to my car, because I truly believed he was hiding behind a bush and going to kill me.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk from my car to my front door for 9 months. Everywhere I went,
It is. It's
I
awful.
thought it was going to kill me. I
it
lived
just-
in fear of... I thought he was going to
Yeah.
come out and stab me every single day.
But this is the problem with the stalking and harassment is that it's the
Psychological, because I'd had 2 years of the psychological abuse
Yeah.
before that.
it's the psychological side of it that just makes you feel,
No woman should
you
have to
can't
fear.
control it, because it's
No.
the thing with like the other side of abuse is it's very much there in black and white, you know.
Yeah.
Not so much there in black and white, but it's, you can, when someone's sending you nasty messages, when someone's, you know, abusing you in person, you can see it. When someone's, harassment, you can. When someone's stalking you, you don't know from 1 minute to the next where they are and what they're doing. So everything you are doing, you are questioning him, am I being watched? And a lot of the time it's through a screen. It's hacking into apps that you don't know, well, what are they seeing this? Is this going to be deleted? When you're showing up for work online, everything, where you're going, where you are, like, I remember he used to go on to like where I was and look at the stories, or go on to and follow people who had been to that place. So I would go out with my friends and
You felt watched.
like I was being watched, literally being watched wherever I went. Like my whole social media, I never showed up. That's the reason.
Because that was me as well. I felt like he was watching me everywhere. And that was the thing with the non-molestation order as well. Once his bail was off, that was actually, I think maybe even, that was only a few months ago. That was probably, I felt very suicidal then. That I lost hope then.
Yeah.
Because then there was nothing protecting me. And it wasn't just so much that I thought, I didn't know if he was going to come and kill me. And he probably won't, people would say to me. It's like, you try and live with probably.
Yeah.
Not one person can say to me, he is not going to hurt you or kill you.
Yeah.
No one can. I don't want to have to live with probably. He might not.
Yeah.
And as soon as the bail was over and the non-molestation order didn't get given to me, he could walk past my house. He wouldn't have to. All he needed to do was drive past my house or like something on my Instagram or ask me, how are you?
Yeah.
He was allowed to, because that wasn't illegal. And that was all he would have needed to do to undo all of my
work
9 months before that of work and terrify me. And I'd be waiting for him to show up.
Yeah.
And legally, he was allowed to do that.
Yeah, and that's where it's so wrong. It should, I definitely think that like restraining orders and stuff, if they're not going to, you know, do, then they should definitely, someone should feel safe enough that they're not allowed to.
If you don't want someone to contact you.
And this is the thing as well that I think needs to be taught so much in school, like to boys and girls. No is no. You know, if you tell someone to stop messaging you, if you say to them, I do not want you to message, and you know, I know we've all been there in arguments and said, I don't want to talk to you again. But in genuine situations, if you've told someone on three occasions, I do not want you to call me anymore. I do not want you to message me anymore. I do not want you to look at my stuff. If I have blocked you off social media, if you've blocked their number and you are making it quite apparent that you do not want that contact, that should be it.
And that's what I did. And I had, and here we are.
And this is what I mean. And this is why it's not taught. I feel
it's
like
not fair. You should be allowed. Exactly. You should be allowed.
And there's
if you don't want someone to contact you anymore, they shouldn't contact you.
Yeah,
and
it's also a thing of like, I feel like there's another thing that you get told, like if someone doesn't want to talk, try harder.
Yeah.
Try harder.
Chase her.
No, don't. Like,
leave her alone.
If she's made it very, very clear, no is no. In all, consent is across the board, you know. And if you don't want someone to, if you have made it that obvious,
I don't want someone to talk to me anymore. We should be allowed as women. That's what we don't have, and that's what the thing with my ex. He felt so entitled to me, and he was so outraged that I didn't want. He felt like I owed him something.
Yeah.
And that was what was so frightening about it. It was because of how, that was what was so scary, how much he thought that it was okay to do that to me.
Yeah.
And I should answer, well, she wouldn't speak to me. And that is a huge issue, I think, everywhere. You should be allowed. And I wasn't. I had to then fear for my life for however long.
Yeah.
And
And the thing is, and while there's not them things in case, because I remember when I'd already gone to the police and I was waiting for him to be arrested, he used to have his hair cut down the road to me. So he used to, and I started having parcels go missing out of my garden. Do you remember?
I didn't know about the parcels.
Yeah, I had deliveries and they'd go missing out of the garden. and I'd see him, I'd go out to do the school run and he'd be driving in, and he didn't have to drive onto my development, but he could cut through that way. So he would, and there's nothing there to protect you, even when they know that he's like, oh, we'll call the police, but the
police aren't going to come. If he's, hi, how are you? That's what it is. It's that psychological, that fear that they instill into you.
Yeah.
Just him not caring about my fear and not respecting. You're begging someone to leave you alone. They keep going and they're calling your mum and going through your room and hacking everything. You're bloody petrified, and they don't need to. And that's what the police, I feel, didn't have any understanding of. Like, at the end of the day, he did commit he did have 25 charges against me. He did commit those crimes. There was enough evidence to go to court. It was airtight.
It was just vowed by the system.
They just didn't push it through. Yeah. And in a way, I am glad in a way they didn't, because it would have taken years. And I got my closure. I can speak about it. It helped me here. I needed it behind me, and now it is. Yeah. And it is on his record, and he will be on Claire's Law. So
what is lovely about, not lovely, I keep saying lovely, but I think what's so good is, you know, we've both had very different outcomes, and although our stories are slightly different, you know,
we've ended up in the same place.
We've ended up in the same place, and that is despite getting justice or not getting justice, and despite, you know, getting the outcome
justice
that you
comes
want.
in all forms.
It's how you deal with it and how you go forward in it. And
I don't see that as a loss. I see that as a win.
Yeah, because
there's nothing the police could have. Even if he'd thrown a party afterwards and been so happy, I hope you are happy. Genuinely, I've never wished any. I hope you are happy. I hope you have everything you want and a great life. Like, I just want you away from me. Good, throw a party, celebrate. Like,
yeah,
I did never want him to suffer or revenge on him. I just wanted him away from me.
Yeah,
and I'm so grateful, and thank you, like genuinely I thank him for what he did.
Yeah,
because he taught me so much about myself. He brought us here. So many thanks to him being a dick, so many more women are going to be helped. We're not going to stop now for the rest of our lives until we've made a change.
Actually, and there's so much when it comes to like stalking and harassment. This is where I think we're going to start, because it's the biggest thing that makes you feel unsafe when you leave the relationship. It's the biggest
1 in 5.
Yeah, and it's the biggest thing that I feel like needs protecting afterwards,
and isn't spoken about.
But there's one thing that I want to, because we've spoke about online, and we're going to have to wrap this up.
God.
But there's one thing really quickly that I want to share with you. There's an app, so to do with stalking, which we've spoke a lot about,
Hollie?
Which is actually called Hollie Guard. So you can download it, and it's a next generation smartphone app that provides enhanced levels of protection. So help protect yourself, a friend or a family member with Hollie Guard. Every 5 seconds, the platform will update your precise location based on your speed and movement to identify you where you are once an alert has been raised. Hollie Guard is a personal alarm deterrent, evidence catcher and more, providing a lot more functionality than a regular keyring alarm for absolutely anyone.
Evidence catcher as well.
So by simply holding down the hexagon button for 3 to 6 seconds, this sets off an alert and activates the phone camera, sending a message and recording to your predefined emergency contacts. So if you are being stalked, we'll put this in the show notes. It's got a meeting timer. So a user set timer will count down until deactivated, meaning the user has to mark themselves as safe, otherwise it will raise an alert. So it will start recording you and take pictures with you and alert people and the police. It's amazing. If you are ever out, so if you have come out of a relationship and you are walking around, I wish we knew about this, you can have this app located. So the minute you leave your house, you have your phone on you, you activate this. If for whatever reason you see their car, you see them, you see anything that makes you feel like you are in danger, you activate this. We're going to put this in the show notes. We'll actually share it on our social medias as well. But you download the app and literally you just press it the minute you feel in danger and just leave your phone, and it activates the records and the camera. No one else will know, but it will literally have everything. So
and
even if, for example,
will notify your personal contacts as well.
Yes,
so if you were in trouble, it would let me know.
So you can so basically when you
It will
download
tell me
the
where
app,
you are and that you're
you
in
can
trouble.
select who you want. So if you wanted your mum, dad, your sister, the more people on there you've got, the better, because someone might not be near their phone maybe. But yeah, so that's a really amazing. I wanted to add that in there because I know
Yes.
the dangers of how you feel and the safety you feel after leaving a relationship, and something like this
Is that little bit of peace of mind.
is just that little bit of peace of
And I
mind. So
think we
it's an amazing app to have.
And I think we should definitely, I want to do more on things we could do another episode down the line of what people can do in that situation, because there isn't enough resources out there. There's not enough protection, and I think there's something we could definitely do for women.
100%.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks, guys. And we will be back with the last episode of the season
Next time.
and we will see you soon.
Bye guys, love you.
Bye.